One car that Dodge hinted at maybe a few months ago when they did the Demon 170 reveal is the Challenger. We now have some information about the 2024 Challenger. Today's video is brought to you by CarLock, the world's best vehicle tracker and alert system. With CarLock, you'll be able to track your car real time, get alerts of anything suspicious happening to your car, such as your car is starting when it shouldn't be starting, any vibrations. Also, if someone decides to unplug your car lock from your car, you'll get a notification for that too. You deserve that peace of mind, and make sure you get your car lock. I do have a discount code for you guys shown on the screen right now. Get 10% off your purchase, as well as 14 days free trial with it as well with that same discount code, man. Get your car lock. You deserve that peace of mind. Let's go ahead and get into the video. YouTube family, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to this particular video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you lock it in. We do a lot of car related things on this particular channel, and you like cars, in the right place for all that, so make sure you lock it in for that. And if you already done so, appreciate y'all for locking in, but we will not hold you too long. Let's go ahead and get into the topic of today's video. So you see the title and you see the thumbnail. So I've mentioned on a video, maybe a few videos back, I talked about how Dodge has been relatively quiet about the rest of their cars in the lineup for 2024. We already know, like I said, the Durango is going to be out for 2024. We know they're going to have the Hornet for 2024, and we know about the Charger for 2024. That's only 3 cars that they have talked about for 2024, and it's getting close to the end of the year. And by now, we should start seeing some more stuff as far as what's coming down for next year. We know what's happening this year with the V8s going away, and going forward, they're going to be moving more in towards a fuel-efficient lineup. I'm not going to say all-electric because they're not going all-electric. Clearly, with the Durango still having a Hellcat engine in it, and the talks of the Hurricane V6, well, not V6, the inline 6 Hurricane engine being part of the lineup now. So they're not going all-electric. They're going more fuel-efficient. So that's kind of what we know so far. But they haven't talked about all the cars they're going to have. But now, article dropped from Stale Power, the new 2024 Challenger has been spotted in testing, and it is gas powered. So what exactly will this car look like, or what exactly going to be doing with this particular car? So as most of us know, whenever a new car comes out, well, before the new car comes out, manufacturers have to drive the car and test the car, and they usually drive and test the car. They usually cover it up. They hide all the features of the car. They have this kind of like black and white camouflage like wrap on it to kind of hide the body lines and make it difficult to see what the car looks like. 2024 Challenger has been spotted testing, and this is kind of what they saw with this particular car. Now, as far as the changes, like I said, that's noticed on the car, the overall shape of the car is pretty much the same. Now, that is something we can expect with the Challenger. Kept that retro look with the Challenger. They haven't changed it because, to be honest, the 1970 Challengers, they all had the same shape. So Dodge is not going to waver from that shape. A couple things they didn't notice is probably a little bit difference in the hood, difference in up in the front bumper, and difference in the rear bumper. So with the front bumper changing and the rear bumper changing and the overall shape of the car, it looks like they're going to stick with the retro style of the Challenger, which is why that Challenger is so popular. Now, a couple things we also aware of, it's going to be a new chassis. More than likely, it's probably going to share the same chassis as the Charger. And it's going to also maybe have like a battery power option as well as the gas power option. But of course, the million-dollar question is, what exactly will this car look like? How will they style this car and make it different from the previous Challengers? I think it's pretty easy to tell kind of what direction Dodge will go with this particular car. 2009 and go into up in 2014, those Challengers were modeled after the 1970 Challenger. Now, a couple of design points from the 1970 Challenger was the first, you had the 4 headlights, which all the Challengers usually share, the big open grille in the middle, and in the back you had the single tail light bar, which is what they kind of mirrored from the 1970. Pretty much same chassis, slightly different body design. Main thing they changed with the front and rear bumper from 2015 to the present was the 1971 Challenger. 1971 design cues, the split grille that they had in the front. Of course, they kept those same 4 headlights. In the rear, we've got our first set of split tail lights, which first appeared on 1971 Challenger. So since the progression has been to model the Challenger after the 1970 Challenger, then after the 1971 Challenger, it's pretty safe to say I think they're going to model this new Challenger after the 72 Challenger. Now, a couple things that you can identify the 1972 Challenger by is the front grille, which the front grille, I put a picture of it here so you guys can see it, but the front grille, it's an open front grille, but it kind of angles at the side, so it looks kind of like a trapezoid. And the tail lights, now we know from the 70 model, it was one big long tail light. 72, they split those tail lights in half, so you had two separate tail lights. Now for the 72, what they did with the tail lights, they took those separate tail lights and they split those tail lights in half again. So the tail lights now kind of resemble something similar to like the Camaros, the Corvettes, things of that nature. Now, if they do go this route and you see it, no, they did not steal this from the Camaro. This is a design that they already had before. So that is pretty safe to say they would do. I don't foresee them changing the overall shape of the car because, let's be honest, the reason people like the Challenger is because of the retro looks of it. With them taking away the V8s, they're going to need to do as much as they can to appease their fan base. Another question that people may have about the new Challenger that's coming out 2024, will they make it smaller? Will they make it way less than the current models? And to be honest, I don't think they will. And here's why. With the Challenger, one of the biggest upsides, or the biggest pros about these cars, if you've never been in one, the Challenger is extremely roomy for a two-door car. It is very practical as a two-door car, meaning the trunk space is the exact same space as a Charger. I'm in a Charger right now, full size, four-door sedan. The trunk space is pretty big. The Challenger trunk space is exactly the same size. Even though it's a two-door car, the back seats are usable to a certain extent compared to the Mustang and Camaro. The Mustang Camaros, those back seats are pretty much just there for show. You really can't put anyone back there. The Challenger, you can put people in the back seat if you need to. I've done it before. It's not going to be as comfortable as a four-door, but it is something you can use. It's pretty practical. A lot of people like the Challenger for that reason. I've also heard a lot of people say that they like the Challenger because when they get in it, they don't feel like they're cramped. They're like, hey, I'm a big person and I like to have my space and stuff in the car. When I get in the Challenger, I feel like I got space. And that is pretty true. I've owned one. If you guys been following the channel for a while, I had a Challenger. They are really spacious compared to Mustangs and Camaros, and that's why for a while the Challenger was really winning the sales. So people like practical cars, and having a big spacious car makes the car much more practical. Now I will say this as well. I know a lot of people are upset that Dodge is going away from the V8s and no longer offering them, but from a perspective of sales, usually the V6 models outsell all the V8 models for the most part. For example, more people buy the V6 Charger and Challenger than the 5.7 Hemi. And as you go up in trim, there are less and less of each car. There's going to be more of the 5.7s than the Scat Packs. There's going to be more Scat Packs than the Hellcats. There's going to be more of the Hellcats than the Red Eyes. There's gonna be more Red Eyes than the Super Stock. As you go up in trim, there's gonna be less and less of those cars. So V6 was pretty much the basis of the sales for the Charger and the Challenger. And a lot of people don't care about the power. A lot of people just want a good looking car, a good looking practical car. That's why a lot of people got the four-door Charger over the Challenger. You had the V6, which was good on gas, and you had the four doors, which made the car practical at that point. So I'm not saying I'm advocating for Dodge getting rid of the V8s. By no means, no, because I've only owned V8s from Dodge. If they're going to make this car sell well, they have to make it look good and appease the fans based on what has sold well in the past. I don't see Dodge completely overhauling the car, but I do see them taking things that people liked about the car and keeping them in this new model. Spacious, the retro look, all that stuff is going to stay. Now, as far as the Charger is concerned, I know they have the EV version of the Charger. I don't think they're going to come out with an EV version of the Challenger off the gate. They may wait a year to drop an EV version of the Challenger because of the fact that they got to make sure these cars sell well before they invest in doing an electric version of the Challenger. And doing an electric version of the Charger will make more sense. Now, I know the concept is a two-door concept, but I feel that what Dodge will end up doing, I think the actual production model Charger is going to be four doors. It makes more sense to do a four-door EV that appeals to more people. The two-door Charger, I think it looks pretty decent for an electric car, but it's still two doors. That's going to turn some people off. If it's four doors, are more likely to buy it because of the practicality of having four doors. And another thing as well, I don't see Dodge dropping the weight of these cars. In order to drop the weight of the new Challenger, they're gonna have to drop the size, and like I said, you drop the size, you drop practicality of a car. You have smaller trunk space, you have a smaller interior, things that people like the Challenger 4. So I don't see them making the car smaller. It's going to be a heavy car regardless. It's going to be over 4,000 pounds, as they always have been. I don't see them making a lighter car when it comes to the Challenger. Now, I know people saying they could come out with a CUDA. That may be a possibility. They could maybe come out with a CUDA version or something. And I think if they do a CUDA version, maybe they make that a smaller two-door car. But I don't see them making multiple two-door cars from the same, manufacturer. It really doesn't make sense. You're kind of overlapping your market at that point. Dodge understands what they're good at and what people like, and I don't see them saying, hey, let's make a two-door car and let's make another two-door car and have the Charger two-door as well. I don't think that's going to fly. They're really going to have to concentrate on getting a lot of sales, especially because a lot of people are already turned off by Dodge because they got rid of the V8s. People are already looking at other manufacturers, looking at going with Mustang, looking at going the Corvette route, getting some of the new Corvettes that they got coming out, because they still have their V8s and Dodge doesn't, right? Granted, they're coming out with the V8 and the SUV. They're still coming out with the Hellcat and that, but not everyone is going to buy an SUV. Not everyone needs the SUV. That is a lot of car. A SUV is a lot of car, right? And unless you're going to be using the space in it, it probably doesn't make sense to get a mid-size SUV of that size. That doesn't change the fact most people buy the Chargers and Challengers with the V8s in them. Since the Challenger has been spotted here, it's probably a matter of time before we actually start seeing some spy shots of the car driving around, more than likely Michigan or somewhere else. They have to test these cars and whatnot. They're always out there. It just got to be, the right person has to be out and see it and get a picture of it. Once we see a picture, we can get a better idea of the direction Dodge is going with this particular car. That is going to bring us to the end of this video. Let me know your thoughts as well. How do you feel about the 2024 Challenger? Do you feel it's going to be retro looking? I 100% believe so. I don't think it's going to be a CUDA or anything like that. I think Dodge is not going to rebrand their most popular car. That doesn't make sense at all whatsoever. Then people will say, well, it didn't make sense for Dodge to get rid of V8s. It didn't, but the CUDA direction, I don't think we're going with a CUDA. But that's just my thoughts here, man. Drop your comments below. If you made it this far in the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We do a lot of car-related things on this particular channel. As always, thank y'all for tuning in. We will catch you on the next video. We are out. Cut it.